So basically, today's session was intended to explain some issues of integrating ImCharts library within Angular 2 framework. So, by the way, my name is Anton. I'm from Portugal. I'm working in the banking industry as a software engineer. And my intention to give that presentation was because recently I was working on some project where we decided to integrate ImCharts in the Angular 2, and then I was faced with some very specific issues that, if well explained, could help a lot of people to speed up their work and implement actually everything. So basically, for today's session, I will not talk much about Angular 2, neither about ImCharts. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Not very deeply.
Okay, that's great. If you have some basic knowledge, that would be great. So for that purpose, I will probably share my screen with you. Okay, great. So basically, for that purpose, I will use something from the, let's see, Angular IO. I will just pull the application they have here as an example, and then we can work on that application. So, and this is located on the quick start.
Okay.
And basically, if we go here, we will be able to download. It's on the introduction. Let me just check. Okay, so this is the GitHub repository where they're storing like a sample application that is used for a tutorial from the Angular official website. And we will use this application to integrate our ImCharts. So first of all, I'm just going to download the zip file here. Okay. Okay, great. I have my application here, and basically today we're going to use three main technologies. That is ImCharts library, Angular 2 framework, and then TypeScript as a language for programming, because that is what Angular 2 was intended to be used with TypeScript. That's library. Actually, the code for the Angular framework was built with the TypeScript, so probably that would be a good choice. Okay, so I have the folder here, and this has this structure. So basically, as a code editor, I'm going to use a Visual Studio Code for this purpose. Okay, I will open a new window, and then I can push open my folder with the app inside here. Okay, great. So I will choose the quick master, great. Okay, so now first thing we need to do when we download this example from Angular official website is to go to the command prompt and run something like npm install. So basically, it's going to pull everything from the Node package manager repository, all the packages to make our application run. And it's just very simple one-page application just to show the structure, and then we're going to evolve this application. Okay, so while this downloading, let's just go to the ImCharts official website and download the libraries from there. So this is the main libraries they have. And for the first example, we're just going to download JavaScript charts here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's installing things. Okay, great. So while ImCharts downloading, we already have everything installed. So let's just try to run this application, and we can use it by npm start. I don't know if you're familiar with npm commands, but basically inside here you have one file that is called package.json, and then here you can define the scripts, and then these scripts will be consumed by the node package manager. So basically we can run the start script, this one, so we'll be able to see our app running. And basically, this script is just going to launch some light server to serve files for our browser. And that here it is. Basically, we have now our application running with Angular 2. Okay, this is just a simple one, and now we're going to evolve it a little bit. I will stop it since we don't need it at the moment. All right, we already have downloaded ImCharts, and this is the contents here. So basically, normally when you download ImCharts, it's composed of several folders. One of them is this one, which actually contains libraries. You have some images and then samples. So let's see. Here inside, we have a lot of samples, and we can use one of them as our first example. Let's choose like bar clustered. So if I open bar clustered in my browser, it's just going to launch some sample application here. It's not launching because it's inside my zip folder. I need to extract it first. So let me open our quick master folder, where is our application is located, and then I will create one more folder here called ImCharts. Okay, great. And now I'm going to place the content of the zip we downloaded into that folder. Okay. Right, it's here.
Okay.
And it automatically refreshes our Codementor editor. So we have already ImCharts folder here. Okay, so let's now go to the quick master folder, ImCharts, and now see the sample. Which one it was? The bar clustered. Okay. And basically, this is the graph, the normal one, rendered with normal JavaScript. If we go to the samples and inspect it within with our Notepad editor, it just has some simple page defined here, some script. They're importing some libraries, and then they call some script, have some sample data, and then calling some setting up the library. I'm sorry, can I ask you if you wouldn't mind to mute your microphone? So because there is a lot of noise on your side, and then if you have any question, you just can write in the chat library. So I will answer to you. Okay. Okay. Cool. So basically here we have just sample of the chart, and let's try to integrate this sample here into actually our Angular application. So okay, let's see. What structure do we have? We have basically nothing inside here. At this moment, it's just a main.ts folder, main.ts file, and some application defined. Okay, so basically, let's start by adding a charts folder here inside our app folder. So it will be kind of subfolder that we will use. Not this one. Okay, new folder, and let's call it charts. Okay, and then inside the charts, let's create a new file. We will call it bar clustered.component.ts. And at the same time, we will create the template for our component that will actually hold our chart. So let's call it bar clustered.component.html. Okay, so we have just empty application here. And within this application, we'll create our component. So let's first of all create just a normal class. Let's export a class and call it bar clustered component. Okay. Okay, bar clustered component. And then what we're going to do, let's just create a constructor for this class. And then let's just try copy this code here, the JavaScript we have, into our component. So basically, normally the JavaScript is recognized within the TypeScript. So TypeScript should work with that. Okay, at this moment we have some problems here. One of them is this: the ImCharts library. The TypeScript giving us an error saying that cannot find name ImCharts, neither this one. Okay, and basically this happens because TypeScript is a strongly typed language, and since it doesn't have typings for ImCharts class, neither methods defined for ImCharts, the TypeScript doesn't recognize it. So what we need to do at this moment is to pull to the internet and download the ImCharts typings. And we have some file here at this GitHub repository that have a content that we need. Basically, this is the typings for ImCharts library, for the ImCharts JavaScript library. This is the big file. Okay, so let's just do the following. Let's just come back to our application, and here within the typings, let's create something like a new file called ImCharts.definitely typed. Okay, .d.ts, and we just copy the content of this file here. To our class. Okay, that's nice. Now we have the class defined, ImCharts, holding a lot of properties, and we can actually use it in the TypeScript. So let's come back to the page where we're defining our things, the bar cluster component TS, and then at the top we will add a reference to that typings. So it should look something like reference, and then specifying the path for that. And our path would be something like going 2 levels up, because this is path relative to the quick master folder. Then we're going into typings, think slash imcharts.d.ts. Okay. We save this file, and now when we go here, the error of the namespaces disappeared. And basically, that's fine now. Now we can use this code actually in TypeScript, and it will compile fine. So some other problems here, it's like charts. So it says probably that we cannot have the variable that doesn't have the class specified. So let's just type any for that, and basically any will say for TypeScript that the chart property variable could be of any type. Okay, that's library that we pulled from the net, the ImCharts. It actually wasn't made from official ImCharts guys. It was made by this guy here. Alex says something, and this ImChart doesn't contain some small pieces that we will need to use. So let's just go and add them. And basically, these two typings that we need to add here would be our ready function. I already have the code here, so I will just copy paste. Yeah, and then this one. Basically, these two variables is just two events that exist in the library exposed by ImCharts, but they don't, for some reason, doesn't exist in these typings. So we will need to add them. And now, if we save and come back to our bar cluster component, the error for .ready disappears. Okay, great. Okay, so let's see now. We added a new class, new TypeScript file, and we need to generate corresponding JavaScript file because browser only recognizes JavaScript. So let's come back to our command line and run some command like npm run tsc, and this stands for we're giving the command to the node package manager to run the TypeScript compiler script, and it will pick our app folder and then compile everything that's within this folder to the JavaScript. Okay, so let's run it and see what's going on. Okay, it's giving us some errors up here, saying that on the bar cluster component, we have on the line 93, we have some errors. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, and that's because we need one more bracket here. Let's save it. Okay, now it seems to match everything correctly. And we also need to place this here. It says comma expected for some reason. Constructor. Okay, ImCharts.ready. Okay, let's run it again and see what happens. It's still giving this error saying that comma is expected for some reason. Let me just try to understand what's going on. Okay, cool. Okay, that's because we didn't copy the right parentheses of the ready event, so that's why it's giving us exception. Okay, now let's run again the TypeScript compiler. One more error here on the line 92.6. Okay, so basically now what happened is we received many errors here. And what's going on? Basically, we corrected every error here on our bar clustered component that we just created. And now it's saying that typing /ImCharts definitely type TS have errors, a lot of errors. And basically, that is related for some things like if we go here like clear function doesn't return any type, and then a lot of other errors here. So we have to work with that in the following way. So basically, in our TypeScript config JSON file, and this is the configuration for this command that we're running here. If we put TypeScript compiler, it will consume this file here, and then we specify here compiler options. So let's just go and exclude. Let's put comma here, and then add like one more command for the compiler, that is exclude. And now we'll specify something that we want to exclude, like typings / imcharts.d.ts, and also probably we would like to exclude node module. It's a normal practice, it's just to avoid all of these errors. Okay, let's run it again. And again, we received a lot of errors here. Clear, okay. Okay. So basically now we will need to go here and add something like no implicit any. That. And I will set it to false. Oh, it's already here. Okay, it's set to true, and we need to change it to false. And basically, that's going to help us to avoid a lot of errors we're facing with these files. Okay, let's just go here and run it one more time. Okay, now it doesn't give us errors. TypeScript understood every line of code we wrote. It compiled everything, and now we have two more files generated here. The JSON file, this one, that will be consumed by the browser, this one that will be consumed by the browser, and at this moment is a very similar one, and then also the source map. Okay, well, so let's see what next. At this moment, we only have our class here, but we don't have actually the component. So let's wrap everything we have here in the component. So first of all, let's import components module from the Angular library /core, and let's add the component decorator here. And pass the object to this decorator. So let's create some simple selector for our component that we are creating, and we can call it like bar/clustered. And then let's add here our template URL. And normally the template URL that we're specifying in the metadata of our component is relative path, and it's relative to our app folder. So we need to go like app/charts, I think, charts/bar cluster.component.html. Okay, great, it recognized our URL. So now we have our component set up. Let's save it. And let's now go here and add something to the template that we're going to render on the page. Okay, if we come back to the example we have here, so basically the normal functioning of ImCharts is the following. You just have some data here that you want to represent as the graph. Then you have your configuration, like here you see setting the serial chart, and all of this code is about the configuration. You're just creating the chart that you want, some category field, you're specifying your colors, etc. And then when you're running this command here, charts.write, basically it's going to pass the configuration you set up previously to the internal engine of ImCharts library and render canvas to the DOM. So you need to specify just the ID of the div where you want to render it. So let's just copy this here and add it to our template and save. Okay. Well, so it seems like we have our components set up. But if we look to our application, it's just a simple one. So let's just create some buttons here. So when we click on the button, we'll make our chart appear down here. So for that, we will go to our app component.ts, and then here we'll add some more. Basically, this is two different syntaxes to implement the template. We can specify the template URL, or we can just have the inline template for our application. But when you want to make it with several lines, you need to use the backslash for this proposed. So that's why I'm going to recognize that we're using the string, multi-line string. Okay. Let me copy just some code that I already have prepared here. And it's just something very simple. Let's call it chart 2 and chart 1. This is just a simple div with some buttons here for different types of charts that we want to display on our page. Okay, let's just compile it again, see if we have no errors. Okay, it's compiled fine. And now let's run npm start script, so we'll launch our application again in the browser. Okay. Great. So here we go. We have our application, and now we have our buttons to interact with. Great. So let's now build something like when we click on this button, we will make our graph appear down here to fill our screen. Just to see, basically, we now build a component here, and like this one, bar clustered, and this component replicates just the same code from the sample offered by ImCharts official website. So if we run directly this sample in the browser, it renders this graph. So let's just try to render the same graph within our Angular 2 application. Okay, so for that, just let's set up very quickly some routing for our application. By the way, I will stop the script here. I don't know, maybe you have some questions at this moment. That's everything fine? If you want to ask some question, you can just interrupt and go forward. Okay. So first of all, to implement our roots, let's follow the good practice and go to our application root folder and create a new file here. And let's call it app.routes.ts file. Okay, so basically here we're going to define some constant array with all paths we're going to have. Let's call it app routes. And now let's import the module that we want to point to. I think it's our bar clustered. And we want to import it from .charts / bar cluster.component. And it's called actually bar cluster component. Okay, now let's set up our path here. Okay, so let's see. We can give it the path like something very simple, like chart slash I don't know, bar clustered. Okay, and when we invoke this bar clustered, let's say that we want our component to assume the control. Okay, so we have our app roots set up. Okay, so after that, let's go to our main TS folder and provide our roots for the application. And for that, we will need to do some little things here. So first of all, we import the provider, routing provider of Angular. Let's call it provide router. This is the module from the library that is Angular / router. Okay, and now let's also import here the app routes that we just created. And we'll import it from .app routes. Okay, great. Basically, we're just diving. To import this, we just going, since we are in the main TS file, we're working on the same root. So we can just pull it directly from here, from app roots TS. Okay, now let's add our files here. So in order to do that, we're just going to call our provider. And normally the second parameter for our Bootstrap module is the providers that we have. And let's say that we want to provide a router and import here our app roots. Okay, great. So now in the app component folder, where our main, like a higher parent module is reside. Let's go here and add, actually not this one, app component.ts, okay, to our template. And let's import the predefined set of functions that Angular have in the router directives. Okay, let me just check. And it also resides in the router. Okay, so Angular / router. Great. So we're almost done with this part. So now let's create one more entrance here, one more div. And basically in this div, we're going to have our components to be rendered. So in order to do that, we need to specify the router outlet. And basically this router outlet will be interpreted by Angular as the place where we want to render the templates of the active route. Okay, so now let's specify the link for our routes so we can access them by clicking on the button. Well, and one of the simplest way to do that is to go to the button and then create a router link and say, okay, when we click on that button, we want our charts / bar clustered route to be activated. And let's rename it and call it probably bar cluster chart. Okay, and basically this is the route that we previously defined in our app routes module, the charts bar cluster. Okay, so let's run it now. But before, let's just go to the charts bar clustered HTML and add some more code. I will just wrap it into the div. One more additional div here. Okay, and I will add some paragraph here, some header, saying like, I don't know, hello from bar clustered chart. Okay, let's run it again. Let's go to our TypeScript compiler. Try to compile everything. Okay, it didn't. It gave us errors again, saying that app/app_routes.ts is not a module. Okay, let's come back to our main TS, line number 7 here, and see what's going on. Okay, this app routes is not a module. Let's navigate here. Let's try to understand what is going on. App/app_routes.ts is not a module. Okay, let's just change some code here, because this is a little bit different. Let's just call for bootstrap platform browser dynamic. Okay. Okay, cannot find platform browser dynamic. No exposure method bootstrap. Let me just run it again just to see what's going on. Okay, yeah, well, now it's don't give us any error, and that was related because I didn't save the app routes, so it was unsaved, and that's why Angular was saying to us like cannot find app routes module. It wasn't existed. Okay, so now since we don't have any errors, let's run our application again. So npm start and see what's happening. Okay. Great, so we have our application here. So now we also have something defined here saying, well, when we click on this one button, oops, I'm sorry, I will show you. When we click on this button, it should invoke the charts bar clustered route. So let's see if it happens. So basically, I'm clicking here, nothing happens. So let's try to understand why. If we come back to our app component, just a moment. Okay. All right. So basically, when we click on the button here, nothing happens. And that's because we imported a set of predefined components from Angular, but we didn't specify that we want to use this. So normally, when you write Angular components, you would use something like directives, and then specify here. Okay, I want to use our router directives here. Okay, it's recompile everything automatically because we have our watcher running. So now, if we come back here and reload our page, wow, it gives us new errors. Well, what is that? Why it's so? Okay, let's try to understand again. And it says no provider for router in the app component class. Okay. So, why it's happening? Basically, we need to dive again into our app component class and see what's going on. Okay, so if I come back here, everything seems to be correct. Let me just check the line of the error. Sense in the template 3.8. Okay, 3.8. So basically, what's going on here? Let's try to understand. So it's saying us that in the error that's no provider for router, and that happens because when we provide the routes to our Angular router, we need to specify the default route. So basically, when it's bootstrapping and when it renders it the first time, it will give you the default route, and that doesn't happen in our case because if we go to the app router routes, we don't have any default route here, and that's very important in that situation because that not much self-explanative. It just says no provider for router, but actually we provided here. We provided the provider for router. Okay, so let's add a default route here, and that's default route normally would be something like this. It should start with no path. It would be located on the route. And let's write just a very quick component for that. We can go here to the charts, say that we want to add a new file, and let's call it empty route.component.ts. And also associate, basically in that case, I will just copy some code that I already have here as an example, and this will serve as an empty route component. We specify the inline template here, saying I'm empty. Okay, let's save it again, and let's now import our recently created component to the app routes folder where we're specifying our constant routes. So let's just say, I think it was empty route component. Okay, empty route component from, and then the very same here. So empty route. Okay, and let's now add our recently created component to the list of our constant routes. Okay, let's save it again. Okay, it reloads everything. Now let's see in the browser. So again, one more error. Let me just reload it one more time. Sorry. Okay. So it's still giving us these errors here. Saying the same, the app component in the inline template. Great. So let's see what's going on. If we come back here to the app component, okay. probably in our main folder. Okay, we're providing the router and we're providing the routes here. Okay, app module. Okay. So strange. Okay, that's fine. I think that's related to some very recent changes in the Angular library, because in the previous example of that app that we downloaded from the Angular IO website, they didn't have this module. And basically this is just a little bit different way to set up, to bootstrap the application, because here we're saying that we want to bootstrap the module. Let's try to do something a little bit differently here. Let's go to our main TS, add our app component here, and say that we want to bootstrap this thing here. Okay. Okay, ng model metadata, found for app components. Okay. Yeah, so that's not a good idea. I'll just change it back. Browser module, app component, declaration, bootstrap. Okay. Engine module. Okay. Well, that's something recent from Angular, this ng module annotation, and that will give us some problems here. Okay, let's do just the following. I don't still have much time for our office hours, and basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to show you just an application that I set up yesterday. And yesterday that was different, and that's a slight problem of Angular, that there is not released. They don't have final release, so they changing stuff on demand almost every day, and then we can run in some problems. So if you take a look at this application here, basically it have very same structure. The only difference here is that inside our app, we're bootstrapping actual application using the bootstrap function. And basically here I'm doing something very same. I'm bootstrapping the app component, I'm providing routes. In my routes, I already have two routes created, one for the bar cluster and another one for the map component. So then I have some shards created, like the bar cluster TS, and then also the map component TS. Okay, so if I open my command prompt from here, and run something like npm start, it will actually launch the server and will actually render the very same page that we had previously. So this is the empty component that I was trying to set up, and here is the two examples, one of them for bar cluster chart and another one for map charts. So if I click here now, it works. It renders, and also the map chart. You can use it now. Okay. Okay. Let me just talk very quickly about some issues that you can face if you want to integrate this thing into your Angular 2 application. So basically here, when you're declaring your component, one very important thing would be to do the following. First of all, you cannot declare it in the constructor. And that's because it's related to the Angular lifecycle hooks, Angular lifecycle of the application. So basically the constructor run before the template is set up. So when you run this function in your constructor, and when you invoke chart.write, the ImCharts library will try to write into this div here. And at the moment of constructor, when constructor occurs, this div doesn't exist. So that is the problem. So basically what you need to do in order to have it running is to implement after view interface, and it also resides in the Angular core. And this is the lifecycle hook, which enables you to identify where your view is already initialized, and only after that to run your code. Also, one very important thing is this code here. So what I've done, if we take a look at this example, it's everything is in line, and they are only calling amCharts.ready. But the problem here is we need also this function is ready, because it's not very clear where the ImCharts library is ready. And in some situations, we will have it ready before this occurs. And in some situations, we will not. So actually, the ImCharts will launch an event. So that's why we need to export every code we have to the create chart. I just created a function that is called create chart. And then I'm checking whether the ImCharts library is ready. So invoke charts. If it's not ready, so wait for the ready event to occur and then execute this callback function. And inside of this callback function, I'm actually basically invoking the same thing here. Okay, and then for the map component, yes, it's very the same. So I'm just creating a component here. I'm implementing the after view interface, and I'm just putting here the code from the sample. But the same way you have your data from the sample, you could have your data to be pulled from some web services or some remote API provided by the service layer of your application. And it works the very same way, just map.write. Okay, one also very important thing is at this moment here, when you write your components, you don't have the actual code. This code, the ImCharts libraries like ImChart.js and other functions, it doesn't exist. So in order to put that code into your application, you should go for the index page where you importing your application to the browser, and this happens here when you use the system import and then you're importing the module of your app. You need to include before you're calling this, you need to include every library you need, like importing ImCharts libraries, basically importing ImCharts and other scripts. So your Angular would be able to recognize all of these libraries. So basically, more or less, it working this way. I'm sorry not to showing you everything live coding. That's because some recent changes in the Angular API. It happens probably from yesterday to today. And since I don't have much time, we will not explore that.